Greetings, everyone. Welcome back to my channel. I'm happy that you decided to join me today on another video of mental healing for builder or connector souls. There are many names for this identity. You may feel like an earth angel. You may feel like a starseed. You may feel your elven soul that resonates with Tolkien's perspective, one that is interested in harmony and is trying to bring people together. Connector and builder souls energetically extend themselves out towards others. They can be caregivers and caretakers, and as I said, earth angels, and they come in many different varieties of different combinations. But ultimately, what we have going on energetically is the same between connector souls, builders. I have really harnessed and embraced that path for myself. And every soul in some way strives for connection and for understanding. But there are specific souls that are very focused on building bridges between others and trying to connect to others. There is a very important role that they have within the universe that represents harmony versus discord, or disconnection versus connection. And we that are on Earth that align ourselves to connecting to others and trying to reach our energy outwards are those that feel some kind of draw to bringing forwards a unification and connecting all souls together. This path can be very hard and difficult in the idea that this earth is not full of all souls that like to act as connectors or take part in that role of connection, but they also will take part in the role of disconnection and discord. And it is difficult for souls that have aligned themselves to the harmony of the universe sometimes in trying to live on Earth with all these different types of levels of consciousness and roles that are on this planet together. And there is a very specific type that I have realized that I think if you understand Myers-Briggs personalities, then these particular types are usually those that seek for connection, and no matter what situation they may be in. And there could be an argument, there could be a large argument in the world going on that's controversial. They will always be able to find something that connects others to each other. It's just the way that their mind processes information. And so these are the types that I found that have this type of resonancy with being a builder or a connector soul. INFJ, ISFP, INFP, INTP, ESFJ, ENFJ, ENFP, and INTJ. If you notice the pattern, a lot of them are introverted intuition, but there's also an element of, if you are an extroverted soul, if you have the ability of feeling and intuition and judgment within you, then you will be able to kind of represent that harmony as well, because you will be concerned about the connectivity to others and reaching for that connection with others. So those are the personalities that actually describe the way that the brain processes information about this world and how they relate to others. So those are the ones I found. Now, there might be more, but I think that those are typically the ones that feel like this path would resonate with them, and they are constantly trying to seek for connection rather than create discord, or they're also not bothered by differences, but actually embrace differences and try to seek for the common denominator between all souls. I would say that we have exactly half connector souls, builder souls, and then the other half can be discord. The reason is because it allows for a push and pull of life experience. And so it provides a challenge for the connectors, and it also provides a challenge for the disconnectors to learn how to connect once again. So it's an amazing way that this world collective actually works together, and ultimately the universe as well, when we look at energy and the disconnect versus connection. And yes, it can also relate to technology as well. And we see that as an example with our computers, the way that we use our computers to connect to each other. This is a macrocosm, basically reflecting the microcosm of your own type of way of connecting to others. And I found an example that I wanted to read from the Fellowship of the Ring, so that you can understand your soul better in this way and understand the way that Tolkien wrote his elves to represent harmony, which simply represents connection and building connection rather than disconnect and discord. One of the major characters that shows this element that Tolkien wrote, that harmonious personality, is within Galadriel. Of course, Celeborn as well, but we see it in the words of Galadriel here. This is in Farewell to Lorien, when the company is getting ready to leave Lothlorien after meeting Galadriel and Celeborn and staying, and also Frodo being able to see a possible future path that lies ahead of him when he gazed in Galadriel's mirror. So here is this part. Now Galadriel rose from the grass, and taking a cup from one of her maidens, she filled it with white mead and gave it to Celeborn. Now it is time to drink the cup of farewell, she said. Drink, Lord of the Galadriel, and let not your heart be sad, though night must follow noon, and already our evening draweth nigh. Then she brought the cup to each of the company, and bade them drink in farewell. But when they had drunk, she commanded them to sit again on the grass, and chairs were set for her and for Celeborn. Her maidens stood silent about her, and a while she looked upon her guests. At last she spoke again. We have drunk the cup of parting, she said, and the shadows fall between us. But before you go, I have brought in my ship gifts which the Lord and Lady of the Galadriel now offer you in memory of Lothlorien. Then she called to each in turn. Here is the gift of Celeborn and Galadriel to the leader of your company, she said to Aragorn, and she gave him a sheath that had been made to fit his sword. It was overlaid with a tracery of flowers and leaves wrought of silver and gold, and on it were set in elven runes, formed of many gems, the name Andriel, and in the lineage of the sword. The blade that is drawn from the sheath shall not be stained or broken, even in defeat, she said. But is there aught else that you desire of me at our parting? For darkness will flow between us, and it may be that we shall not meet again, unless it be far hence upon a road that has no returning. And Aragorn answered, Lady, you know all my desire, and long held in keeping the only treasure that I seek. Yet it is not yours to give me, even if you would, and only through darkness shall I come to it. Yet maybe this will lighten your heart, said Galadriel, for it was left in my care to be given to you, should you pass through this land. Then she lifted from her lap a great stone of clear green, set in a silver brooch that was wrought in the likeness of an eagle with outspread wings, and as she held it up, the gem flashed like the sun shining through the leaves of spring. This stone I gave to Celeborn, my daughter, and she is Celebrian, my daughter, and she is hers, and now it comes to you as a token of hope. So this is the gift that Arwen left Aragorn, and now Galadriel is passing it down to Aragorn. In this hour, take the name that was foretold for you, Alessar, the Elfstone of the House of Elendil. Then Aragorn took the stone and pinned the brooch upon his breast, and those who saw him wondered, for they had not marked before how tall and kingly he stood. And it seemed to them that many years of toil had fallen from his shoulders. For the gifts that you have given me, I thank you, he said, O Lady of Lorien, of whom were sprung Celebrian and Arwen Evenstar. What praise could I say more? The lady bowed her head, and she turned then to Boromir, and to him she gave a belt of gold, and to Merry and Pippin she gave small silver belts, each with a clasp, wrought like a golden flower. To Legolas she gave him a bow, such as the Galadriel used, longer and stouter than the bows of Mirkwood, and strung with a string elf hair. With it went a quiver of arrows. And for you, little gardener and lover of trees, she said to Sam, I have only a small gift. She put into his hand a little box of plain grey wood, unadorned save for a single silver rune upon the lid. Here is set G for Galadriel, she said, but also it may stand for garden in your tongue. In this box there is earth from my orchard, and such blessing as Galadriel has still to bestow is upon it. It will not keep you on your road, nor defend you against any peril, but if you keep it and see your home again at last, then perhaps it may reward you. Though you should find all barren and laid waste, there will be a few gardens in Middle-earth that will bloom like your garden, if you sprinkle this earth there. Then you may remember Galadriel, and catch a glimpse far off of Lorien, that you have seen only in our winter, for our spring and our summer are gone by, and they will never be seen on earth again, save in memory. If you can understand this way that Galadriel seeks to connect Lothlorien to the Shire by giving this gift, this is an element of that harmony that she is trying to build with the hobbits and with all the other beings that are open to receiving that connection. In order to connect to others, the other person has to be able to receive back that connection. Otherwise, you are connecting to a wall, and your energy that you put forth will bounce back. Now, this is a very difficult thing sometimes to deal with, because those that seek to connect to others, that our minds just work that way, then we are constantly looking for connection or trying to build connection with others, because that is our role on earth. It's part of our makeup of what we're doing here and what we represent within the universe energetically. Not all the time are you in that role of disconnect or connection, but there are souls that seem to be infused with the essence of harmony and always trying to look for that. And that is me. That is you who have come to my channel. That is you who comment on my videos and are trying to seek for that connection, building that connection, letting me know that you are here, that you see me, that you appreciate my videos. I see that. I understand that. And I know that souls that have this particular type of soul path and this type of makeup will be the ones that will resonate most with my channel and will understand where I am coming from, and will understand the elven soul that Tolkien was trying to demonstrate with his character of Galadriel. Not all the elves, maybe in the elven realms, would act this way or be in that role, but Celeborn and Galadriel are certainly represented in those characters that he wrote about. The reason why Tolkien was able to express this type of soul path within his elves is because he himself was on this soul path, or he himself was a connector or a builder. And this is referenced in many of his letters. It is evidenced in the way that he talks to his son and lets him know about the way that he experiences life. One I wanted to read here, I think I lost my page. is the letter to Christopher about mankind in the idea of, sorry, here, I lost my page. Yes. So this is really, really very important here. And I think I will do a video that builds upon this idea because I am a connector soul. And Tolkien was as well. And his story is infused with connectivity and showing the difference between connection and disconnect. Here is where he says this, that is so important in terms of how he believes the idea of that no one is, I'm so sorry here, it's 90, that nobody is very different after all, in the idea of we all connect on some deep level. And Tolkien was very aware of this, and this is what he says to his son from a letter to Christopher Tolkien in August 1944, the 12th of August. It is longer than I meant to leave since my letter of August 8th. I read your letters carefully, and of course, as is quite right, you open your rather troubled heart to us. But do not think that any detail of your exterior life, your friends, acquaintance, or the most minor events are not worth writing or of interest. I am glad that you are finding it at times easier to rub along. I shouldn't worry too much if the process sometimes seems to be a declension from the highest standards, intellectual and aesthetic at any rate, not moral. I don't think you are in the least likely permanently to decline upon the worse, and I should say that you need a little thickening of the outer skin, if only as a protection for the more sensitive interior. And if you acquire it, it will be of permanent value in any walk of later life in this tough world, which shows no signs of softening. And of course, as you already discover, one of the discoveries of the process is the realization of the values that often lurk under dreadful appearances. Urukai is only a figure of speech. That's his orcish speech that he created. There are no genuine Uruks or orcs. That is folk, made bad by the intention of their maker, and not many who are so corrupted as to be irredeemable, though I fear it must be admitted that there are human creatures that seem irredeemable short of a special miracle, and that there are probably abnormally many of such creatures in Deutschland and Nippon. He's talking about the Nazis of Germany. But certainly these unhappy countries have no monopoly. I have met them, or thought so, in England's green and pleasant land. So what he's saying is that there is no such thing as truly orcs in the idea of humans, in the souls that represent 100% discord and hate and anger and darkness. There's no such thing. And to Tolkien, he understood this. And this is his spirit of connection, reaching out to those that may embrace a darker side of life because they themselves are in darkness, are in pain. And he can tell that those who have a sensitive interior, like his son, and like Tolkien, but he grew up, he learned how to navigate it. And a lot like me, what I'm doing is trying to help others also navigate through it as well. And the reason why the world may seem so different is because you are sensitive enough to notice the darkness of others, the unawareness that people live from. And it's difficult because what that represents is their disconnection from source and disconnection ultimately from you. When you're trying to reach another and the spirit of love and friendship. And you're just trying to connect to another person and understand them. And the other person just doesn't want that, or they're being really hateful in that moment. That is their time of unawareness and a state of disconnect that they are in, only because they hurt so much and they need healing in order to open themselves up to connecting to others. And so there is particular souls that fight through that disconnection in the world. I am one of them. You are also probably one of them, as you have come to this video to understand yourself better and to be seen, in a mirror reflected through me to you what you are. And there are ways that I have realized how we can move through this world and get over the suffering and the anguish that we feel when we enter upon this role and we realize that not everybody is taking part in this role. And it's something that you have to realize, is that not everybody consciously is choosing to connect to others. Not everybody is about that type of spiritual connection and emotional connection to others, and also not interested in maybe developing that in the world. But subconsciously, every soul is looking for connection in some way. But there are different levels of assistance to the connection of the universe and to other souls. And so these are 12 ways that I came up with that have really, truly helped me and inspired me. And I will leave off with another quote from Tolkien, and then we can listen to each other's stories. And I hope that you share, some of the frustrations that you have realized and how you have overcome them. So 12 ways to heal builder souls, caregivers, connector souls, whatever label that you feel resonates most with you. You are looking and are an active participant in the harmony of the world rather than the discord. Number 1, realize everyone is trying to reconnect or connect to one another subconsciously or consciously. Subconsciously, it is underneath the surface and you may not be aware of it. And subconscious makes you go through life events and experiences in an unknowing type of way. You're unaware, but it is your subconscious that is drawing you to bring the parts of you inside of yourself to the light. And so that is why people will subconsciously seek for connection when they themselves are not aware and conscious of their role as a connector soul, and as somebody who wants to take part in helping to spread harmony, like the elves of Tolkien in many ways. Now, this is where it's important to know that if you can recognize the fact that everybody on some level, not maybe your level, but on some level is reaching for connection, then you will not focus so much on the disconnect with others that you experience or generally experience in society when you see people, hating on each other and fighting each other. And, you can turn on the news and people are always yelling at each other. And there is a very strong element of disconnect when we don't see each other's perspectives and we're not aware of each other's intentions. So a lot of it has to do with being an empath too, because when you are feeling other people's experiences and emotions and you are going through that, then you are connecting to them. You are, reaching out your feelers and you're connecting to them. You're connecting your brain waves to another, connecting everything, and you feel that connection deeply. And that is the sensitive interior, that is the sensitive soul that is wired in that way to do that. Even though all souls have this ability, there are some that are more focused on it, more aligned to it. It is part of your soul purpose here. It is how you are made. It's the essence of you. It's the vibrations you carry. It's your role within the universe that you come in with. And these are ways how you can help yourself here. First, remember that at some level, everybody is trying to connect. And you are a conscious creator, connector, And the idea that you are consciously creating connections. You know you are. You're making spiritual memes. You're writing posts to uplift people. You're talking to your friends. You're trying to build relationships. You're trying to say, hey, stop fighting everybody. Let's have peace. You are a conscious connector, builder soul. And you know that. But there are those that are not conscious of that state within themselves. You are aware of this mission, but need to discover how to connect to others without pain. And I'm going to show you how. Number 2, understand not everyone will connect to you or to each other at the same time. Different levels of consciousness exist. And the example is right now during this time of the virus. There are those that are spiritually connecting to the idea that the virus is an important time for building connection. And we are the souls that seek for connection and understanding the purpose to things and events like this and what it means for Earth in the long run and in the big picture. That's how our minds work. There are those that do not see the connection spiritually. So they only see disconnect. They see a virus, they see a conspiracy, they see it's a depopulation, they see all of these negative things, and it scares them. And so understand that at different times, there will be an experience of disconnect and connection, and not everybody will connect to you, and you just have to realize where they are. And you can then decide to keep trying to connect to them, or if it's just kind of a waste of energy at that point, and pull yourself away so that you're not feeling that pain and that struggle of trying to connect to others that simply are closed off to it. And they're not reciprocating or trying to receive what you are giving. And that is a valuable lesson that I have learned. You can walk away. You can pull your feelers out from trying to connect to others. And that is something you consciously can make a decision about. And it's really, really helpful. It is so helpful because it really helps with you feeling that you're not important, that you're unloved, that you're unappreciated. You know, those are the thoughts that happen to the connector soul. The one that is increasingly focused on harmony will feel like this world is not for them, because when you look at some of the events, it seems that this world is more about discord and people are just about fighting and arguing, and you will feel like you're not at home, and you will feel that. So it's really, really important to just keep that in mind, that you can disconnect if you choose to, if you feel that your energy is just kind of being drained on a particular person or a group of people too. And we'll get more into that. Number 3, each soul has their own parts or roles in this collective universe we share. Not everyone is an active connector or a participator in building harmony and peace, but hold other roles such as a disconnector in order to provide the push-pull experience, or other types of ways of helping this new earth or helping the collective dream move forward, but not necessarily interested in connecting feelings or thoughts to others. And that might be something that you can only know yourself. If that's something that you're interested, if you're interested in the way that people feel, or if how they think, and you want to make sure that you connect to people or that they feel a connection, they're not alone. You know, these are the ways that your mind processes life in a lot of ways. And so it's okay to realize that not everybody is going to have that role on Earth. And it's because all the different roles is what makes this world go round. There's a quote that Elrond says, you know, it's all of us have different roles, and we create this theme, this story that's playing out. So just know your role and understand the role of others too. That can really help you. Sometimes roles switch too, and that is okay as long as the connector soul finds their way back towards alignment with connecting. If you're a connector soul and you're just kind of angry with people and you feel this disconnect, this can cause a set of a set-in of depression that can last for quite a while. So if you can be aware of yourself and catch yourself when you think that the world is dark and you hate everybody and everybody hates you, if you can get back onto track of what are you here to do? You are here to connect to others, not focus on the disconnection. Do your part. Do your role to the best of your ability and don't focus on the disconnection. And that is what will help you. And that is something that, I have learned. Number 4, connectors need lots of rest. Lots of me time. This is really interesting because connectors are constantly trying to build peace and trying to connect souls together. Well, if you're constantly doing that through whatever you're doing, through your jobs, through the way that you interact with others, you're going to need me time. Give yourself that space. It is okay to say no when you feel drained of trying to connect all the time. You can pull yourself away and disconnect from everyone and disconnect and reconnect in ways to, in a non-personal way to the earth. And I'll tell you more about that when we get to the idea of nature. So it's okay to say no. And I have learned this. This is really great. Just give yourself a couple days where you are really just kind of recharging yourself and you're not connecting with others. You're not reaching your feelers out into the world. You're not trying to help others. You're not trying to connect thoughts or processes. You're just enjoying your time, entertaining yourself, me time, alone time. And a lot of times that might be private connectivity, meaning reading books, watching movies, and being on your own and still feeling this interconnection with the world, but you don't necessarily have to share it. You don't have to try to help others see it. It is your own personal time, and it's okay to say no to others. Number 5, connecting deeply is a natural desire and a need in a relationship, especially for connector or builder souls. Understand that if you don't feel that this is reciprocated, you do deserve friendships and partnerships that also are trying to connect to you, and this is something that if you can be aware of that and the idea of why you may be unhappy in a certain friendship or relationship is because that person is not interested in building harmony or building connection to you. They are focused on the disconnect. They are focused too much on the differences, and that's what causes the arguments and fights. You need to be with those friends and with partners that can meet you halfway. Maybe they will not give as much effort as you as a builder, but they will be someone that can connect to you at times in order to give you that. Because if you're going to spend your life with someone and open your personal space with somebody and live with somebody or spend a lot of time with somebody, it might as well be somebody that can also build that connection to you so that you don't feel alone and that you do have someone that you can talk to or you could be with and share experiences with, whether they be a lover or a friend. Please don't think that you're supposed to do all the emotional, spiritual, and mental and physical work. And I mean this. Many times we on this life path will feel that we are the ones burdened with this and we must do all of the work. And that is not true. Allow yourself the ability to share this with others, that you are not the only one to connect, but there are many souls that are in this role together. And this is such an important element of my personal healing and realizing that we don't have to do all the work and that there are other souls that are doing other types of forms of work. Allow yourself that time to kind of look at yourself, at how much you're giving out. If you're feeling drained, if you're feeling tired, working with somebody or being in a partnership with somebody and you're just not getting it back, drop what you're doing and see if they can rise to the occasion and meet you halfway. And if they can't, then you have some decisions and some choices to make. If you are looking for a happier life, this is what, this is about: more bliss, being able to feel more inner peace so that you can be a greater light worker on earth in that way. Number 6, recharge and reconnect to nature. It is your battery. And here's why. All things on earth is naturally connected to each other. Ecosystems. All organisms within an ecosystem depend on each other. And yes, we can look at it as all humans depend on each other. And we are a larger ecosystem that is represented in the smaller ecosystems that are in different environments on Earth. The connector builder soul will reach a sense of connectivity that no human can give them. It is so important to reconnect to nature, to allow yourself that time to meditate under a tree, to walk in the park, to feel yourself connected to the air, to the birds, to the grass, to the water, everything around you. This is vital for your experience on earth. As soon as you awaken into the soul identity and you realize, oh, I'm in this role, like this is what I'm focused on. This is what my life's about. And this is how I process information. If you were here for the Myers-Briggs part, those types of Myers-Briggs personalities are those that usually are interested in building connections. And so nature is your battery. It is your reconnector to you, to yourself, and it makes you not so dependent on being understood or connecting to others. Nature will give you that connection that you are seeking. Number 7, imagine yourself as a tree. This is a visualization that I can give you right now as a gift so you can remember all the time. But imagine yourself as a tree with roots, reaching out to others down below. All tree roots in a forest are connected in some ways. And you're grounded like a tree. You're connecting your roots to others. Your feelers are out there in the world. And you are glad to take that part. It makes you happy. It's who you are. It's aligned to who you came to be. But notice that each individual tree receives their own nutrients from the soil and from the sunlight. And this is important because then we're not doing something called psychic vampiring, where we're feeding off the energy of the others, but rather we're giving energy and not taking energy. And it's okay to have a give and receive, but there are those that simply just feed because they are not secure in their core of who they are. They do not stand strong enough like a tree in order to understand that they don't have to feed off of others in order to understand and feel their own light within. And this is the best example is a tree because the roots extend and connect to everything else, all the other trees, but at the same time, a tree stands alone. And so you can keep that connectivity and that individuality, which is very important. Number 8, eat well and exercise and take care of your body. This is important for all souls, but connector souls really need this because if you're a caregiver, connector soul, builder soul, relationship, builder, harmony worker, light worker, earth angel, you're going to be somebody that sometimes can neglect your own needs for the needs of others. And I'm talking about if someone's living in your home and you're taking care of them, you may forget to eat sometimes. Or if you are someone like me, you're making videos or writing things or, thinking ways how you can build the connections in the world, you might forget, to take care of yourself and to do things for yourself. It's really important to learn the art of disconnect and connect. Disconnection, connect is a very valuable tool because it's about getting yourself really secure in who you are, and exercise and food is so important that sometimes we forget to take care of ourselves. So make sure that you're eating well, you're getting exercise, and you're having that me time that you need. And this is something important. And I know Doreen Virtue talked about this in her incarnated angel quiz. For those of you who are on that other video of mine, There was a part where she said that some earth angels will be underweight or overweight. And that extreme is because you're taking care of others. You forget about that balance within yourself. Life is about balance of the spiritual and the material, and you have to find your way of doing that. Otherwise, you start to feel drained. You start to feel like you're not really giving yourself that self-love, and that's when we start getting into the darker thoughts about ourselves, and we get into those moments of depression. So take care of yourself, because there's nobody else on earth that will take care of you except for you, and you are a caregiver and a connector, harmonizer soul. And so you have to take care of yourself, because don't expect anybody else to. And that's really important. Something that I constantly have to remind myself is just remember to take care of myself. And the elves, when you focus on Tolkien's elves, this is where it can be very helpful for sensitive souls. They were able to maintain that balance, where some people would see that they were arrogant, or that, they seemed like they were selfish. No, it's that they knew how to give when it was time. They gave gifts, extravagant gifts, to help others. They gave wisdom to guide others. But they also knew when to withdraw and go back into their Lothlorien forest. They understood when it was time to connect and when it was time to disconnect, within the spirit of harmony, because harmony is also about keeping balance within the self as well. Number 9, rejoice in this role. Have fun with it and discover new ways to connect with others, or others together. You are a working soul in this movement to spiritually unite souls together for more peace on earth. We will not have peace without our important work, and without the important work of other roles as well. But it is about connection, and it is about building those bridges where there are gaps between each other, which will ensure a future that is more peaceful and less full of war, all the terrible things that happen when it's about disconnect and not seeing each other's perspectives and not coming to a peaceful compromise. So that is really, I think, important, is just allow yourself to just take a moment right now with me and realize where you are and have fun with your identity in this way, that this is something that you have earned over many incarnated lifetimes. It is something that you have chosen to focus on. It is something that you were created from, and it was written in the stars for you to be. Embrace that. Many times we are the souls that feel the least amount of love inside, which is so strange, but it's about, because we're giving love to others, we feel like we don't have love inside. It's important to carry that love within, so that you don't feel that drain on you, that you are always full. Your cup is always full. You feel that self-love, that you can truly be a caregiver. You could truly be in that role of the light worker on earth. And so rejoice in that you're here. Take that moment in time, celebrate today, do something special for yourself after you watch this video. Please just, I want people to realize where they are. And in that moment of realization, that's when you stop seeking for outside love. That's when you start to feel the inside love that you are, that all souls are, but being a conscious creator and connector soul of it is really important. Now, number 10. Lastly, try to find, well, it's not last, but try to find a support system. It helps to find another connector that you can talk to and share experiences with. This is why I made my channel. I want to be that other voice for people that can hear themselves being reflected in, and connecting to them in that way, connecting to other souls that maybe have not even thought about this, and it just kind of reawakening something within them. This is so important about the idea of really just finding someone to talk to, whether it be a counselor, whether it be a friend, that is another connector soul. You have to try to recognize that they are interested in building harmony in this world, not focused on so much the discord and the differences, but they are focused and they can perceive the commonalities that people share. And they are more aligned to that rather than aligned to the differences. So that's really important for us, is to meet somebody or a few people that we can share that with every now and then. Number 12, meditate daily for your own reconnection back to source of you, so that you don't constantly struggle with the disconnect in this world. This is something that was really helpful for me, is the idea of making sure that you really give yourself that quiet time, that space of just getting in touch with your true self and allowing yourself to reconnect to that voice within, rather than hearing all the disconnect around you in the world, all of the arguments, all of the problems, all of the fights, all of the wars. That is the representation of disconnect. Connection is reconnecting ultimately with your higher self. Meditation is key for those that are on this path, want to be successful at it, want to embrace it, and want to expand your experience in life within this path. Then absolutely, meditation is something that's really important for you, I would say. And I wanted to say this, another part where Tolkien, in his Tolkien on Fairy Stories, he talked about how we should not divide humanity. So this is another evidence about him. And many people think that Tolkien was an INFJ or an INFP. And sometimes Myers-Briggs personality quizzes, when they identify famous people, they put them into those categories. So that's why his brain works like this. So he says this: let us not divide the human race into Eloi and Murlocs, pretty children, elves, as the 18th century often idiotically called them, with their fairy tales carefully pruned, and dark Morlocks tending their machines. He really did not want humanity to ever be divided. And that is at the core of the soul that works to strive for harmony and is a connector and builder soul. It is your wish and desire to not divide. You represent that unity within the universe, whereas other souls might represent the pulling apart, the disconnect. And so that's the harmony. And Tolkien was somebody that was infused with that spirit of harmony, and he infused his elves with harmony, or he reawakened to a natural state of being that humans are at, humanoid beings can be at, when they are reconnected with nature and remember the harmony of the earth, remember the harmony of all beings on earth. We can remember the harmony that we are supposed to have with one another and increase this experience. Many people think that you need discord and you need arguments and you need all this to make life fun. And I would say that sometimes the most fun experiences that I've had have been really intelligent, deep discussions that are not conflict like based, where we're not arguing with each other or fighting, but it's a debate. It's showing each other's perspectives and meeting on an equal level. I love debate in that way. And, being on the debate team in high school, that gives you that experience that you can come at each other on an equal level, providing your different perspectives. And it makes each other grow because you learn something new and you learn something new. And it is a wonderful experience that really transcends what we have been doing in the old ages, when we're always focused on war and discord with each other. So I hope that this really helped you, and I gave some of my secrets away in the way that I have learned how to move through the mental anguish of being on the soul path and looking out into the world and saying, oh my gosh, there's so much discord, there's so much disconnect. So I would love to hear from others that have experienced this and, feel like they can provide some other wisdom from their experience and what they have learned. So I'll take it here at the top here. Let's see. Okay, so Eve Enlightened said, wow, yes, I've had the hardest time connecting to others, but it is so difficult at times. Divine timing. Oh, I'm so happy, Eve. I was just feeling, especially with this virus, that there are people that are really trying to bring harmony in during this time of discord. And this was the time to talk about this. This has been kind of like my little secret ways of dealing with life. And if you resonate with me, you resonate with the elves of Tolkien and their harmony ways, then you absolutely need these vital tools to help you. And I'm so happy that you jumped on. I've taken others' disconnection as my own in this journey, and I need to remember to not make it mine and let it get to me emotionally. It's harder than I ever imagined. Isn't it? It's true, because when someone disconnects to you, you take it personally. You're like, oh, something's wrong with me. I'm not lovable. I'm not this. I'm not as cool, or I'm not as beautiful as I could be. No, it's not about that. It's about their inability to receive what you are giving them. If you are giving love, if you're giving a friendship and positive energy meaning you're connecting yourself, to another to their mind, and you're trying to do that spiritually and energetically. If someone's not ready to receive that, that has nothing to do with the amount of energy that you are getting. It does not diminish the value of what you are putting out. It is just about the door is closed, so it cannot be received. And that's something that really helped me. And I wish I would have learned that earlier too, because it really hurts, especially when you're looking for love. When you're struggling to find relationships, and that disconnect, it's very painful. You're right. So I'm glad that this can help. More Winden. Honestly, I have an urge to heal people, to help, and to make everything right. People also don't understand me because I have a wild side too, and it often gets in the way of my ability to heal. That's what makes you a unique healer. So play with that. The differences there are so great. If we're all the same, then we're not really, I think, playing this collective in the way that we are supposed to, with all the differences that we offer. So I think that that's great. I think that you could bring out your wild side and also be a healer too. But it's about how, what does your wild side get you into, as far as the disconnect with others? Because humans can tend to sometimes do that. We see that, like, okay, take talk shows, right? Where you have people go on and they're yelling at each other and pointing, like Jerry Springer or any of the talk shows that we see. They're pointing at each other. They're getting wild. They're going to throw chairs. They're going to fight with each other. There's a wild side. There's a wild abandonment of care. And that's their free spirit coming out. That's their self-expression. But we have to be wise of where we're going too far and causing disconnect rather than connection with others. And that's why these shows have a hard time finding that connection, and people just sit there glaring at each other from across the room and want to, hurt each other. So that, I think, that's something that, is great for you, because it makes you a special, unique healer. So play with that. That you might be able to reach those that also have a wild side and also are interested in healing others as well. Eve Enlightened. Actually, let me take someone else here. Okay. Siren of the Void. I do care. I am troubled with my own pains, however, and that is completely fine. That is fine. This soul path comes when you... okay. So the soul path is ahead of you, but you don't really realize it, that it's always there in front of you, and that you're walking down this path until you yourself have healed and have worked on your own traumatic experiences. The wounded healer is one that has healed, has been wounded and has healed from those wounds, and now can pass on the healing to others. So allow yourself that transitional time, and that's fine if you want to focus on your own self right now. Absolutely. And this is more for those that feel a constant struggle and want to always constantly connect to others. It's just something that you were born to do. It's, like I said, it's part of your essence. It's part of who you are. It's your focus, and it's how you were meant to experience life. Carozo, can other people corrupt your soul, and how should I prevent from ever meeting these people? Other people corrupting your soul, that's a very good question. I would say people can influence you. We hear it all the time with, gang violence and stories on the news. The idea of people influencing, what was that terrible story about teenage girls that were playing this fantasy game with the Slender Man, and they ended up stabbing their friend, thinking that it would somehow sacrifice her to the Slender Man. I mean, this is teenagers at that time who did that. And that type of influence was provided because there was one girl that started this, and then it was another person that followed. So you have to be careful about being a follower. Who are you following? I never am a follower. I'm always very much a sovereign soul, in that I've had problems with authority this way too. I've always had problems in relationships. I follow myself and my own path. So I cannot be corrupted. My soul cannot be corrupted by others. So yes, you can. If you are a follower, you can go down that path, but you'll never be corrupted forever. It's about you going through that experience, and then as you awaken and realize what you have done, that's how you then can uncorrupt yourself in a way from the other people that have been around you. And yes, there are those that are very interested in discord, and they are full of darkness themselves. They only see division in the world. They can be racist. They can be hateful towards others different than them. And they can have an influence on others, especially if they're parents teaching their children this way to think. See Asian people this way, or see Blacks this way. That has happened. Absolutely. You have to be strong enough within yourself, within your own mind, to not be corrupted by other people's words. And I don't know if that's something that is teachable, but it is something that I think everybody can embrace. And it's just about awakening yourself to your sovereign soul, that you don't have to follow anyone. And then that way you don't go down that path. So that was a great question. And I do believe that you can, but nothing is forever. And that's the key. Okay, Siren of the Void. So she asked, rest for your soul, but how much? You will know. So here's an example. I go on rest, I take breaks. Like I will tell people on my Instagram or my Facebook page, I say, I'm going to take a couple days to myself. So I'll take a break. Here's exactly what happens. I enjoy my alone time for those few days. I, immerse myself in my own world, and I enjoy in my experience of recharging my energy of what I've been giving out. But it comes naturally where I will start to feel a pull and a draw to help others, to be there for others, to support others, and to help heal others. It will naturally happen because it's, I guess, being in flow with the universe in terms of the energy and the way that it needs to move during this particular collective time. So rest until you want. Rest until you're done, hanging out with yourself. And when you start to feel this draw to want to help others, that's the universe pulling you back into that role. That's how it works for me. And that's why I come back on periodically from taking breaks. Although I'm going to start to have more of a a stricter schedule so that I don't go too far away, because sometimes that can happen. And I really want to increase, I guess, my channel in the way of how many souls I can reach out to. And so it's more about the algorithm of YouTube as well. When you stop creating, they stop kind of recommending your videos. So that's kind of what's happening. And so I'm going to stick to a little bit more of a stricter schedule, but I will take breaks. I mean, I'm not going to do it every single week. There will be times where I will need to have that me time. But I did allow a couple days in between, which was good. The Wednesday and the Friday. And I will have extra videos as well, because it's about when spirit moves me to speak and to connect to others and help facilitate the harmony, then I will put it out there. All right, Siren of the Void. I'm seeking the balance between rest, physical needs, and connection, all while clearing confusion. Yes, welcome to my life. It's that delicate balance of everything. It is difficult, but the 12 things that I talked about, hopefully they can give you some inspiration. I've been so angry. This is Eve again. I've been so angry at people, but 444, my guides definitely said, get back on path. At Siren, I slept for 12 hours last night and can't believe it. And I've shut my phone off to anyone but my child. Me time. Oh, good. Yeah, that's excellent. I mean, it really is about, just realizing when you're getting too angry at the disconnect. And the worst thing that a connector, builder, harmonizer soul can do, the worst thing that a light worker can do is allow that their light be tainted or to be darkened by the actions of others or the thoughts of others. You keep shining your light. Try to ignore what they are doing. It is difficult, but they are on a particular path, and they will learn one day, and they will go through their awakening, and they will have that light go on as well. So that's what I can say is, like, just allow yourself that time to have that me time when you get angry at the world. That is a big indicator that you need to disconnect, and you need to reconnect to the truth that you know inside of you, and stop looking at the outside world. Carl Jung said, when one looks within, they awaken. Introverted intuition and the other Myers-Briggs personalities that perceive inwards, that feel inwards, or have that experience of conscious understanding about emotions and about the intuition, they will be the ones to awaken first. Why? Because you're looking within. And the ones that seek outside external influences and are always looking at the world for answers, they will be the ones that are still asleep. So if you're too focused on the physical world, you will sleep. You will forget the truer nature of things. So yes, I'm glad you mentioned anger. That is a huge thing. It's a very big telltale that you need to take a break. Eve, yes, it's so important at this time. Our bodies are being put through a lot. Releasing and receiving those things are actually what we need to help others, but we have to clear them first for self. Wise words, Eve. Great. Oh, good, Lady Ravenhill. I'm glad you like the tree analogy. Yeah, that is the closest thing I can understand a strong empath to be, is a tree. That's a strong empath, of a sensor being that allows themselves to reach their roots to others and connect to others, but is an individual and is strong within themselves and stands still. While another tree is cut down, it won't affect you. And this is something that's really interesting about the interconnection, but also the individuality that we share. I had to step away from the video. Oh, okay. Eve, this matches a lot of what my guides gave me yesterday, such confirmation. They told me to go outside and run, and I will become more connected to my own path. I love all, and self-love is beyond now. It's wonderful. Yes, go outside if you can. because that is your reconnector, and it's your battery. Nature is your battery. Lady Ravenhill, in college, I tested as an INFJ, but today, nearly 20 years later, I test as an INFP. I believe the change is a result of my own awakening and connections with my true self over the years. INFJ and INFP are very, very close, very similar, and many quizzes that I have taken, I have been an INFP and an INFJ. But I have recently more been an INFJ. INFJ has a little bit more of the organizational skills, the ability to get more concrete in the dreams, the inner visions that they have. And INFP is the artists. They are the free spirits and the souls that will express. So that's a difference that I can relate of where I have grown from my INFP to the INFJ, or you could go into being more of a free spirit and less structured. So that's why we really connect. Building one's own self-esteem is the biggest way to protect yourself from the influences in the world around you and help you stay true to your own path. Wise words, well said. This is so true, Morwinden. I honestly need more time for me because of this disconnect. I don't get enough me time. I get so stressed and freaked out and depressed or mad, and the world gets to me, and I cannot stop it sometimes. Absolutely. I know what you go through. I do. And that's when we're paying too much attention to others, to the actions of others, to the disconnect, to the argument, to the wars. Reconnect with yourself. That is a vital telltale sign that you need, your own me time. So allow yourself to say no to others, disconnect from others, and know that you don't always have to be connected, even though, we are all interconnected consciously. You don't have to keep that connection when you want. And when you feel that your energy is being drained by others that are getting your energy and are just kind of drawing it out of you constantly, because you're the connector source, right? So they're just drawing that energy, and you just need to pull yourself away so that they find their own energy, or they absolutely don't take from you. And unfortunately, they'll probably go to another person, or they will have to find their own reserve of energy within themselves. And so this is a nice balance. Just remind yourself of the elves of Tolkien, being able to be in that nice, delicate balance of giving and then also to draw back. Not really receiving. Here's the interesting thing about elves. They're not really receiving things from humans or hobbits. They're not really receiving because they have such a full cup that they don't need to fill themselves with others. And so they can express themselves in this giving nature. But when they feel drained, or when they're giving to those that don't appreciate, or, then it's about drawing themselves away and retreating back into a place where they can recharge and feel connection to the force and to everything around them, and not bother with what the other beings do and decide and how they behave. And this is how you strike that delicate balance. And this is important for light workers and sensitive souls, especially highly sensitive people that have taken that test with me and have watched that other video of mine, and or just know already that you're a highly sensitive person. You are sensitive. You have a sensitive system built within yourself. You smell, you taste, you hear things more deeply. You experience things on a more heightened sensory experience. You are built that way. You are constructed that way by the universe. Your molecules have arranged themselves in order to be a sensor for the world, and you sense things that are off. You sense when people are in need. This is your incarnated angel path. This is what being a light worker is about, and stepping into that role. But you have to be able to realize that a highly sensitive person can become overwhelmed and overstimulated by the outside world. Your best connector is to go back within and also to be reminded of the connection to everything within nature. So I hope that this gave you some help and some clarity today. I'm not going to make this too long. Thank you all for joining me on this Sunday. I think that this was something I felt that I just really wanted to put out there on my channel so that people can have if they ever need. And I will see you all on the next video. Enjoy your me time.